Good morning, happy Wednesday. It is a lovely day already here in Toowoomba. It is currently 30 degrees. I have just dropped off Lilah to my partner Alec, his grandparents' house for a couple of hours as I work part-time from home, and now Lilah is crawling everywhere, so it's too hard to try and juggle, go team to all the mums that work part-time from home and get it done, but it's just not manageable for us. She will be there for an hour or two at max, just gives me a chance to get the client done and then just get a couple of tidy up things done, which is really good having their support as they're the only ones that live near us up here. I will quickly show you her room as I love it and I want it as my room, but I don't think that would work with me being in her cot. So this is her space, little glow dreaming right there. So yeah, I can hear a car door shutting, so that means that my client has arrived. So I'm going to disappear for maybe an hour or two max. I will just quickly pop up a video, that I got a Lilah this morning, and I'll chat to you soon. You say good morning, happy Wednesday. This is our little bug Lilah. She is 7.5 months old and she is on the go all the time, hence why I'm dropping her off, as she now crawls everywhere and it's not very fair for her to be having no attention while I do a client. My Granny and Poppy's house. Go see Granny and Poppy. Yeah. Chat to you soon. I am all done. I don't have another client now until tonight, so I'll go get Lilah in a little bit. I just have a doctor's appointment a bit later, but I just thought I would jump on and introduce myself a bit more. I am 22. I'm originally from Melbourne, but then moved to the Gold Coast when I was like 5, and then moved to Toowoomba when I was 18, and then met my partner Alec on Tinder. I did get told when I was 16 that I had no chance really of being able to conceive naturally because I have really bad polycystic ovarian syndrome. So that was a bit of a shock at the time. So flash forward like 2-3 months after I turned 21, I did a pregnancy test because I just had some signs and everything else, and it came back yes straight away. So I did another 6 or 8 and they all obviously said yes. My pregnancy was really easy. I had no complaints at all. I had to go into hospital a couple of times, but it was nothing too major. So that was all fine. And then our birth was pretty bad, I guess you could say. So I was booked in to get induced on the Thursday, so 2 weeks and 1 day earlier than my due date, just because Lilah was measuring 9 pound 6 at the 36-week scan, so they were thinking full term she would have been 11 pound easily. And then I started contracting on the Monday. My waters broke Tuesday night, went up to the hospital and got everything checked and it was all fine. Then I got sent home to labour, and then my contractions stopped, which they said was normal, and to wait and see what happened. And then it would have been like 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. My mum was up, she was helping us out, and she said, get in the car, we're going back in now. So went in and both of our heart rates were high, and they pretty well told us that they were going to induce me, and then they came back and said it's actually our preference if you have a C-section, just because of how big she is. I was meant to go in at 3 o'clock that afternoon, but in the time that I was there, there'd been something like 40 something births. All the birth suites were full, which didn't matter, I wasn't going into one of those. So we kept on getting pushed back in terms of emergencies, I suppose, and then got put into a normal room, and a good old small country, I suppose, hospital, you share a room with 4 or 5 other people. So then we got told we're getting done that night, and then the obstetrician came in and said, no, I'm really sorry, but you're going to be tomorrow, and they would only let me have Panadol during my labour because they didn't know when I was going in for a C-section. In the meantime, Lilah had flipped, so she was posterior, so spine to spine, which they say is one of the worst ways that you can labour. Tried to give me a needle to stop the contractions, nothing worked. and then just got told to try and walk it off, massage it out type of thing. And then we ended up getting rushed in because we went really downhill really quickly at 3:30 in the morning, so I had to get a spinal block and an epidural. Then they did an internal before they pulled her out, and I wasn't even 3 centimetres dilated after 4 days of labouring, which was lots of fun for everyone involved. The C-section went fine, like that was all good and well. Got into post-op and started hemorrhaging really, really badly to the point where they were getting ready to rush me back in for another surgery, but then they managed to get it to slow down quite a bit. And then everything was fine, like I was up walking. She came out at 4:45 in the morning, and I had myself up out of bed at like 10 o'clock that night, just walking around, and then came home and everything was fine. And then on the Sunday started having some really bad pains in my leg. Midwife came out on the Monday to do a check on Lilah, and she said to go straight in, and they found a blood clot straight in the middle of my calf. And because I was breastfeeding, I had to inject myself with 4 needles of Clexane a day, so 120 mils twice a day, so 240 all up. And it would have been 3 weeks after I had her, because of the way that she flipped and the pressure change and how everyone was rubbing the back of my spine. I ended up with a pilonidal abscess on my tailbone and had to have another surgery and started turning septic and everything else like that. And that was 7 months ago almost now, and I'm still having complications from that surgery, so I'm still at the doctor's 3 times a week dealing with that. And at 4 weeks we found out that Alec was going to have to start working 7 hours away, 6 hours away, for a decent amount of time each time. So obviously, you know, like, you don't think that all these things are going to happen to you. Like, it's not something you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant, I'm going to have a baby, my partner's going to start working away, we're going to have all of these things go wrong. Obviously, I'm extremely lucky that we both are okay. The day after the 6-week clear mark for you to drive, Alec went away to work, and I was left by myself with Lilah and dealing with everything else, and all my family lives back home on the Gold Coast. It was really, like, really isolating, especially because I'd had friends that had babies a few weeks before me and nothing went wrong for them. So it kind of was like, well, why is it happening to me? Nothing has happened to them. Like, I wouldn't wish it on them. I wouldn't wish it on them. I wouldn't wish it on anyone for anything bad to happen to them or their baby, regardless of how big or small it is. But it was just a big shock, and it's things that no one talks about. Then I did end up getting diagnosed with postnatal depression and anxiety, just because I wasn't handling anything that was happening with it all anymore and was becoming really reclusive. We're just so lucky now that, like, it's a talked about thing, and it's not something that's pushed to the side, and it, you know, like, it's okay to ask for help regardless of who you ask. And I really think doing things like this and getting stories out there is one of the key ways, you know, to let people know that it does happen and you're not normal if it happens to you. And it's such a big change to your body, and it's such a big change to your lifestyle as well. But my biggest thing was that I was, and I am, so lucky to have had, like, in the past year, there's been 7 friends that have been pregnant and had babies, so we've all gone through stuff together. Like, has just really cemented in, however you say it, that having a support system is so important when you first have a baby, because you need people around more than what you realise. I love being a mum. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world, regardless of how hard some days can be. It has to be the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And we are so lucky to have the most chilled out little babe, like, easy-go-lucky unless there's food, and then she wants that or her water bottle. And glow dreaming definitely has helped with the sleep situation. Being in and out of doctors and hospitals and everything else, it's just been one thing that we've really put into her routine regardless of where we go, so she knows when it is sleep time, and it makes everything so much easier. Anyway, that is enough for me right now. I'm about to go to the doctor's really quickly and then go and get Lilah and have her back for the day.
Where is Lilah? Boo! Come on, come in here. Oh, you love the little dog, don't you? You love the puppy. Yeah, that's Snoopy. You'll follow it.
Go, 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 go. Yay! Benny! Just went to Woolies and we got some groceries and picked up a few things for Dad. Hey! You say hi. Dad? I've just heated up some lunch for Lilah. We have peach, mango, banana and some porridge. She's been a bit funny with savoury stuff at the minute. So we don't do bibs because somebody likes to pull them off. So we just wing it without, and she's getting pretty good. At around 4 months, we went into the doctors just to do Lilah's weight, and she'd actually dropped 3 percentiles. Hey, and she's looking for more food. But yeah, no, so obviously not good. She was 8'8", so 4.02 kilos when she was born, 2 and a bit weeks early, so classified as macrosomic, so big for their age. In her first week, she lost a bit of weight, which is normal. She went down to just under 3.8 kilos. And then the week following that, she put on another 500 grams, so another pound. So she was tracking really, really well. She ended up sitting at, say, 4.3, 4.2, just in between there. And when we weighed her at 4 months, she was only 4.73 kilos, so she'd literally put on like 500 grams max, which wasn't great. So then obviously it was alarm bells, and we were classified as an emergency case to see a pediatrician and all this stuff. Anyway, the next night she woke up every hour for about 10 minutes each time, just wanting a feed, and like a real chicken on the boob, like the on and off type of thing is probably the best way to describe it. So then my mum was up because I was in the midst of moving houses while Alec was away for work, so organising all of that by myself. So we had all of that going on, and then I just said to my mum, like, she was out doing something at the old house for me, I just asked her if she could grab some formula, and she ended up coming back with some, and she downed like 210 mils in like 6 minutes. And then we went back to the doctors 3 days later, and she had put on 510 grams in that space of time, so it was obviously what she needed. I'm extremely lucky to have been able to breastfeed for 4 months, given everything medically that had been going on. The doctors were surprised I was even doing it, but they believe that it came down to just the fact of all the antibiotics and stuff that I'd constantly been on. So the milk wasn't bad and it wasn't hurting her. It just didn't have the sustenance behind it that she obviously needed to grow. So we did get pre-warned that she wouldn't be back where she was meant to be, and she was just going to be little, which was fine. And then at her 6-month needles, she's sitting exactly where she should. But for someone that was so little, like the amount of food and the amount of bottles, like she has breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, a yogurt straight after dinner, 3 210ml bottles and 1 180ml bottle just before bed. So she definitely chows down, but she's sitting now just, I think she's halfway between the 49th and the 50th percentile. So she's pretty well back where she should be, which is great for us. So babies Jay and Bo, Lilah is obsessed with them, but it's a bit too hot for her to be outside right now. So we normally spend some time with them in the mornings. What have you got, Pums? What is it, Bubby? Have to be one of the most impatient people when it comes to getting a delivery and wanting it built straight away. So we're currently waiting for Alec to come home. Daddy comes home soon. Yay! So that he can build the new cot that got delivered for us today. Well, for Lilah, not for us. That would be awkward. So impatient. Totally meant to say impatient, not impatient. It's amazing what having a baby does to your brain sometimes, and you don't realise until you watch it back, like just then. So I forgot to mention before when I was showing you our fur babies, Bo, the one that's mainly white, we got him when Alec first started working away, and the whole point was like a bit of a guard dog type of thing, and then Lilah would have like a dog to grow up with because we both grew up with dogs. And then it was probably 2 months after getting him that we realised he was as deaf as anything could be. And then we got Jay when I was probably 7 months pregnant, just so he had a bit of a friend to play with when we got Lilah, because it is a bit hard when you first have a baby to share your time around and stuff like that, I suppose. And they're both absolutely best friends, so 100% Lilah will be out there with them trying to ride them like horses and everything else, but they already have the best friendship between the three of them. Like, she sits out there obviously with me and pats them, and they're obsessed with her. Like, it's actually really bloody cute to see. So we are just starting to do our nighttime routine. So we generally do dinner anytime between 5:30. Generally depends on what time Lilah wakes up from a nap. So we do dinner and then bath and then a bit of a play and then a bit of a bottle and then bed, and she sleeps through from 7 until 5:30, 6 o'clock each night, which is an absolute dream. She doesn't look the most appetizing, but she likes it. We have beef, beans, corn, I was about to say carrot, corn, zucchini and sweet potato. Yum, yum, yum. Yay! My client, and now I'm all finished. Alec has built the new cot and it looks sick. Now he's just in the process of changing it all over quickly. I'm gonna give Lilah a bottle and then pop her down for bed. When it's all done, you're gonna go to bed. She's very tired. You're gonna go to bed, and she has a bit of chocolate in her mouth. You're gonna go to bed, gonna go to bed, gonna go to bed, gonna go to bed. I just thought I would jump on and say one last thing before I jump off for the rest of the day. I just want to thank everyone for listening to my rants and rambles. I didn't actually think I would talk as much as I did, but obviously I proved myself wrong. Today, same as every day, there's some moments where you question your sanity, whether it be for a few hours or a few minutes or a few seconds, and you just wish that it would hurry up and be over. But then you get to the end of the day, like it's now 7:30 in Toowoomba, Brisbane area, sorry, and it feels like the day has gone by in an absolute instance. Don't know where it's gone, even though it starts at 5 o'clock. Like, we've been going for 14 hours now, and I've still got a few hours left to do things around the house too and get it all organised. All the stuff that you don't really see or think about that happens before you become a parent, I suppose. And I think, you know, it's the same thing when it comes to the days, the weeks, the months, even the years. Like, we're not at that stage yet, but the years of your child or children's lives, it just goes to show how each moment is so precious and how, you know, like they're our little people and they rely on us for everything. Like, we're their all and we give them our all day in, day out. So I think everyone is doing one really, 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 really amazing job. That probably doesn't make sense, but I'm getting tired, at raising their little babes. And if no one said it to you in a while, or you're just having a bit of self-doubt at the minute, just don't doubt yourself. Your kids are happy, they're fed, they're smiling, and they know they're loved. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Parenting is such a tough role, and it's 24/7, but you wouldn't be dealt a situation in life if you couldn't handle it.